Hello. Now, hi everybody, my name's Zillian Ross, and a couple of weeks ago, knowing my upload schedule, I asked you guys to ask me questions about, well, literally anything. The reason why I'm doing a Q&A? Because I want to beat a dead horse too, apparently. Because this is a Q&A video, I'm going to be answering questions that were given to me on both YouTube and Twitter. Starting with YouTube, and then going to Twitter. And because I am absolutely terrible at transitions, we're just gonna get right into it. That was incredibly cheesy. This whole thing is incredibly cheesy.
Irritated Gaming asks, where's your new fursuit, and will you be doing a video showing it off in the future? The answer to that is right here and right now. My head really hurts.
Enzo asks, how many years have you done art dedicated, quote unquote? As in not doodling, but investing a lot of time into your art. So this is actually an interesting question because I don't actually want to tell anybody how many years I've done doodling, art, or any of that. The reason is because if I tell you the exact amount of years I've done art, two things will happen. One, either I've been doing art for less time than the person viewing my videos or my content has been doing art for, or I'm doing it for much longer. In either case, both people will become disenfranchised in terms of what they can and can't do with art and how fast they're improving. The one thing that I will say is that it is possible to get to my skill level. Tyler Furlong asks, what made you choose your persona species? So I chose a skunk because I think skunks are dapper as hell, and I honestly like Lockheed Martin's Skunk Works division, and that was like a huge inspiration for me to become an engineer. I like coyotes because they're basically methed out wolves who search for small animals in cities, and deer because nubs and antlers are pretty neat. So I just said fuck it and mashed them all together. That one fox who bark asks, do you have any pets? Also, are you going to make more Why Did I Film This? To answer your questions, yes. Yes, I do. Her name's Pepper and she's adorable. And also, yeah, I'm probably going to make more Why Did I Film This. So yeah. Who's a good girl? Kitris asks, how do you feel about Karens? How everybody else feels about Karens. What do you use to draw with? Well, actually, I use two things to draw. I actually do traditional and digital art. So a lot of my sketches and stuff, and a lot of learning and practice are done in sketchbooks. I find it very helpful in terms of finding out anatomy. Actually quite nice looking. The other thing that I use is tablet. This specifically is a Wacom Cintiq 16-inch. It's about $600. I spent the extra money because I wanted a Wacom tablet that I knew would last me for a very long time. This one specifically is about a year old, and I have not had the need for a new one. Recreational AJ asks, okay, here's a serious question. Milk, cereal, and bowl. What order do you put them in? Well, I'm not a monster, so obviously I'm gonna get the bowl out first, and then I'm gonna put the cereal in the milk. How are you supposed to put milk on the table, then cereal, then the bowl? It's just gonna be a mess. What type of question is this? Squibbles asks, are there any tips that you would give beginning artists about anatomy of furries and humans? If so, what are they? I'm glad you asked that question. In terms of anatomy, you're gonna want to stick to human anatomy more than furry anatomy. I actually learned how to draw humans before I learned how to draw furries, and because I understood the figure and anatomy of humans, I was able to better understand how to draw anthropomorphic characters in the process. And because of that, even now I can still draw humans particularly well. Take a look at my human Sona. His name is Jim. He's going nowhere in life. He peaked in high school. He thinks his SoundCloud career is going to take off, but it's not. Sokoro asks, do you feel like you will choose to make art and your channel a career in the future, or are you going to do whatever field of work you're studying in school? Or do you plan on just doing both? Okay, I'll be completely honest. I had the choice between either engineering school or art school. And I chose engineering school because I thought art school would be a little bit more risky and more of a gamble in terms of my future career. Now, in the summer, I don't have an engineering internship. I'm getting paid through Patreon for my YouTube channel. Everything's backwards and I'm very confused and afraid. Marcus Potatoes asks, what piece of art are you most proud of? My next one. Nix Moonville asks, besides yourself, who is the most chaotic boy you've been friends with? The most chaotic person in my life that I know of right now is Dingy Mannequin. And it's not just the fact that he is a chaotic individual, he is the catalyst for everyone else being chaotic. Dingy and Nova, Dingy and Marlin, Dingy and Ren, Dingy and alcohol, Dingy, Ren, and alcohol. It's just chaos. He creates chaos. It has gone everywhere from Kiwi and Dingy talking about how many breadsticks they can eat before they get kicked out of Olive Garden, to Dingy and Nova still not telling me what they did in Roblox. Unholy Revenant asks, what's your favorite all-time food? I personally love Mexican carne asada. Really good Mexican food is really good, though alternatively, bad Mexican food is really bad. Storm the Wolf asks, what fursuits do you have / want to get in the future? Well, in terms of fursuits, I actually have two. I have Zillion, which is what I'm wearing right now. The other suit I have is Baron, my protogen. I made Baron based off of the fact that I made a promise to myself when I joined the fandom. If I was ever going to get a fursuit, I'd want to make one first, and a protogen was a perfect opportunity to do that, as I have no idea how to make a regular fursuit. But I do know how to 3D print, so I used PLA, and I basically made a pseudo helmet. And then I kind of figured out how to actually make fursuits to make the rest of it. In terms of what suits do I want to get, a crimson suit, which is of my Sodaru character, would be kind of cool, but not necessary. It would also be nice to get a suit of some like secret sonas or something, just so that I can wander around a con and enjoy fursuiting without getting mobbed. To be fair, I don't get mobbed at a convention anyways, because I mean, you gotta catch me first. Cardio, 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 cardio. On to Twitter, because YouTube wasn't enough of a dumpster fire. Clifford with Clout asks, what's an extremely memorable moment from a furry con? One of my most memorable moments at a furry con wasn't actually at the furry con. Actually going biking with a bunch of other mountain biker furs at AC last year was actually probably one of my most memorable moments. It was just a bunch of us going together, going outside of the con, and doing something we love. Marlon Root asks, do you like your chicken with or without bones? Avocado asks, do you like your chicken hot or cold? Glacius asks, do you like your chicken without, hot, and kind of? Is there anything about your art that you wish you could change? I wish I could be a little bit better at lighting, but the great thing about art is I can work to fix those things. It's a evolution in a sense, and what you expect out of your art is always going to be better than what you can currently do, so I don't really sweat it all that much. I just kind of keep working to improve those aspects of my art. Dribby asks, if someone fabricated a full suspension trike, would you send it? I'd give it a shot, yeah. Shingregard asks, how would you make friends without feeling awkward about it? Well, making friends is inherently awkward, and there's no way around that, at least for me it isn't. I guess the main thing is just make sure you don't overdo it in terms of like messaging them or talking to them. Respect people's privacy, try your best to read social cues and like best when not to talk or when you're possibly talking too much, and just be honest with them. And also remember that some people's personalities just don't click. So don't feel bad if you're not able to make friends with somebody, and just hang out with the people that you kind of mesh with, and don't try to force a friendship with somebody that you don't, because that's going to be detrimental to both of you. Nova's phone has a 5G, by the way, everybody. It's brainwashing me. Nova, how dare you do this to me?
It wasn't me, it was the birds.
What version of pigeons are they on? Are they on 5.0 or are they on like 5.5?
5.5, they upgraded them.
Ooh, wait, how would you know?
I installed the charging pads when everyone was in quarantine.
Surprise Fox asks, what is your favorite fruit? Oranges. Poopoo asks, outside of art, what other hobbies do you have? Well, I actually have way too many. So I do a lot of mountain biking and extreme sports, skateboarding, longboarding, skiing, and snowboarding. I also do 3D printing because I'm an engineering student and I like creating stuff like that. So I do a lot of CAD work and 3D modeling. It's not like anything big, it's just practical stuff. So my most recent project was just a headphone holder. And I recently got this vinyl cutter so that I can print stickers and actually do more large-scale painting projects. I also make YouTube videos. Lumi asks, undone or ramen? The fuck is undone?
It's pronounced udon.
That didn't answer my question. Fiddle asks, favorite song / artist? So my favorite artist has to be MDK. They're an EDM musician out of Vancouver, Canada, and they have this really cool, fast-paced and energetic chiptune style. And my favorite song is actually a collab between him and Temanite called Space Invaders. This song absolutely slaps. Dexter Dingo asks, what are you most proud of in your lifetime? Hopefully not this. Pat Hyena asks, was comedy always a part of who you were? Where did it develop from? Well, comedy hasn't always been a part of who I am. I actually tended to be kind of annoying, and I'm not necessarily that funny in real life, but the comedy that I do use in videos developed from anxiety, depression, and a deep-seated self-hatred. Self-deprecation aside, comedy for me has always been about being able to have people laugh at me or people to laugh with me. At no point do I ever feel like that laughing at the audience is comedy. That's more of just kind of being an asshole. And that's a super important aspect for me in terms of how I perceive comedy and how I do comedy. Another important thing is, if you are going to make fun of somebody else, you better be able to take that exact same comedic insult right back at yourself and not get offended. The basic premise is you better be able to take what you dish out or you shouldn't dish out at all. Terrible asks, what made you take the leap to upload your first ever video? Well, I'll answer this in two parts because one of them is my con videos and the other one is my YouTube tutorials. For my first con video, I accumulated so much junk footage at MFF 2017 that I just said, you know what, I'm just gonna shove this in Premiere and see what happens. For my YouTube tutorials, I didn't actually see many heavily edited tutorials for furries, and I saw a gap in the market and I was like, I'm gonna take it. Captain Maximus Decimus Merindus asks, what's your favorite energy drink? Lee asks, as someone who identifies as ace, have you ever considered being in a relationship that doesn't involve sex? I am confused about the ace spectrum. Well, don't worry, Lee, I'm still confused about the ace spectrum. So, despite being asexual, I'm still hetero-romantic, so I would consider a relationship with a female, but for me, especially with a relationship like that, I'm not going to try to rush it or force into it. The important thing to me is that if it does happen, it's a healthy relationship, and a healthy relationship, in my mind, isn't one that's going to be forced. It'll happen over time. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. We'll see. And to the men who do have feelings for me, I'm sorry. Antonio asks, what are your thoughts when someone comes up to you and tells you that you inspire them to draw, join the fandom, or start dancing, etc.? Well, in all honesty, I feel very humbled by it. That's kind of the intention. I never planned on being in some sort of limelight or having a following. I prefer for my influence to be more of an influence to others to do their own things and to have their own creativity. And that's kind of what I find more enjoyable than myself having influence. And if toxic masculinity hadn't ruined my emotions, I'd probably cry every time. Hey! Put a muffler on that glorified lawnmower, you nincompoop! I don't know how to end this. I'm really bad at transitions. So, I just want to say thank you for 100,000 subscribers. It's a lot. I honestly didn't expect to get here. At no point did I expect to have a YouTube channel with this much success. It's just not something that I thought would happen. It is awesome and humbling to have a platform where I can motivate, inspire, encourage, and entertain individuals with stupid videos like this and art tutorials where I can teach people how to draw. And I really am thankful for this opportunity. Given that, I did make a promise for a video that I'd make when I hit 100,000 subscribers. Because on a YouTube channel that is built on the foundations of motivating and encouraging others, I think it's time we burn some neon monstrosities. That's right. As promised, I'll see you guys all next video, where I do my best to tear you all down. It's time to roast some personas, baby! Let's go!